JONO ZALAY is a fantastic comedian I've been following for a number of years. He's soon to have two albums out, right, Jono?
Yeah, well, I already have the one out. I don't mean to drop like we're gonna not gonna drop two on you. Not a double whammy, just the one. The second, the sophomore album, as they call it in high
A
school.
total of two. We want to
Yeah,
make it clear.
yes.
When is that coming out?
April 1st, April Fool's Day. I don't know which time zone, but yeah, it'll be a nice fun prank whenever it shows up. But it is
Midnight
actually
Oil.
coming. Yeah,
Midnight Oil is the name of this album.
yeah.
I've
It
heard,
should come out on midnight, shouldn't it?
yeah, I've heard a little bit of it, and I just wondered whether now I've moved away from the screen I wanted. Now I'll stop doing that then, because I was going to share a screen
Hmm.
of the band Midnight Oil. Now I can
Oh
do that
yeah,
because they're legendary in Australia and somewhat
of
legendary
course.
in alternative scenes. Here's the Boys about 20 years ago. Here's the Boys about 30 years ago, or one of the boys, Peter Garrett, the main boy. And here's them, looks like a couple of weeks ago.
Oh boy, yeah. Looks like we're
Uh,
gonna be releasing albums at the same time.
yeah. No, you're not. But I seen them in a paddock or field, you might say, about 3 weeks ago, and they're still pretty good even after all these years, even though they're in their late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah. Did they still
So
play the hits?
they play all the hits. They're a fantastic band. But anyway, moving on from that, you could only ever call it a jokette. Tell us a little bit about getting Midnight All together, because you could never be accused of being prolific on the album front.
Oh no. Yeah, I gotta wait. I actually had plans of yeah, I recorded it last October in Colorado at this really great club called the Comedy Fort, which actually opened during the pandemic, which is a really cool space. And I think there's been like an album recorded there every other week since then. It's such a cool room. And I was initially planning on recording this album in April 2020, but I had a thing. I had a little bit of a snafu there, so I had to put it off for a little over a year. I thought like I rescheduled it like, oh, it'll be post pandemic, but it turned out to be like right between two deadly spikes. So I actually got lucky that it even, I felt like I was snatching this album out of a tomb about to collapse on me, and Boulder was chasing me in the form of variants and disease spread.
Yeah, it's tricky. Do you have a sort of a tone for this album?
Yeah, I mean, it's like it started. It's a little bit different than if I would have recorded, I guess, pre pre pandemic. So it has a more like reflective, like, oh, we're all kind of going through it together. I don't talk specifically about the pandemic, although I do have a pandemic story in it because I got engaged during the pandemic. So like, there's a whole new element to me as a long-term relationship guy now. I'm a wife guy. I got married,
Oh,
and I recorded
congrats.
right. Thank you. I recorded the album right before, like weeks before I got married. So I'm like, it's reflecting of that, like changing life that like we all had. Our lives are different now post pandemic in every way, and this is just another way that mine is. It's just the fact that I'm now married and have a dog, and so it's there's those family elements to changing life, but there's also just like, and our society is way different now, and it's a little bit in there too.
It is. It's way different, but really the same at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm finding. Did
Mm-hmm.
you manage to avoid all strains of COVID so far?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to jinx it. I know BA2 is going around these days,
Mm,
but I'm so far batting 1,000. I have not caught COVID, and hopefully never will, but we'll see.
I if I've had it, I didn't notice, and I didn't pass it on to I didn't pass
Right.
it on to anyone in the household. So I think I probably eked by. But do you think you had like a couple of days where you're a bit like, oh, should I get a test? Do you think you might have accidentally got it at a couple of points?
there is a time where I definitely like actually leading up to the wedding, because it was like so stressful, and like your body is,
Yeah.
like reflecting all that stress. So I thought like, oh, this is great. I'm gonna like ruin our wedding by getting COVID the day before, and so like I had this like tickle in the back of my throat, and like I felt a little like I had some chills and like aches and stuff like that, but it was just stress. And like we took tests like right before the wedding to make sure we didn't infect anyone. Because actually I went to a wedding a month or two before mine where the groom had caught COVID the week before, and he had to be in like one of those bubble tents at his own wedding. Which was
hilarious.
yeah, it was actually kind of fun. Like overall, like they did a really good job adjusting to it, but like they had to have their like vow exchange outside and distanced, and didn't get to do a kiss in front of everyone. And then they're inside at the little dance hall area. He was just like kind of on the patio in a bubble, so people could come up to him. And then at the end, he kind of came in and like was still in his bubble and dancing with everyone. So they made the most of it, but that was not the experience I was shooting for at my own wedding.
Gosh, that's certainly one to remember. Do you remember all of your wedding?
Yes, I did. Although I did get very drunk at the wedding, so that it's really
sure.
a cognitive feat that I've retained all of the memories. And actually, it turned out to be pretty memorable. I did a hybrid, like we did the vows the day before the reception, because we didn't want to have a big ceremony. We're not super religious. We didn't do it in a church or anything. We thought we'd like, oh, we'll just do it at a park, in like dressed in non-formal but like still cool clothes. So my groomsmen and I all wore matching Adidas tracksuits. Tracksuit still a suit.
Yeah,
and so it was just like our closest friends and family wedding party essentially just came to a park to witness us exchange vows. But the big wedding industry wasn't going to allow us to get a free one because they sent the cops on us. The cops showed up 30 seconds into the ceremony and broke it up. They told us to leave. They were like, they couldn't just let it be. They the thin blue line was the something blue at the wedding. And so we had to move back. We just did an exchange vows in my courtyard, which was
why would any of that be illegal?
Their excuses were so dumb. They said like, oh, someone called to complain. It's like, there's no one in this park. Who's complaining? It's like they see us in tracksuits that's profiling. Oh, the Jabberwockies are here. They're going to do a big dance number or something. Like it didn't make any sense. And so, but we didn't want to like argue with them. Like I was ready to, but my mom was
Don't
like,
argue with cops.
Whatever. And because she was fine with getting married at her house to begin with. She's like, let's just keep it simple and do it in her yard. And like, of course I had to like immediately amend my vows. It's like, on top of me loving her, she's always right. I didn't realize I would cause a big problem by trying to get married in a park. So it was a fun little adventure in my wedding as well.
Yeah, I think the accepted norm in our town is that you approach the council, and they're generally fine with it. They give you some conditions: no killing, no filling up pigeons with rice. The normal stuff.
Right? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, like they asked for a permit because like it was at a art park that has a bunch of like architecture designed by like Frank Lloyd Wright or something. It was like, we can't have pictures here. I was like, we've already taken pictures. You're not deleting them from our phone. Yeah, they had some weird excuse, but
look, that's quite a story. Yeah, due to the stress that you mentioned, I can remember very little of my wedding except it being magical is the word I want to.
Nice.
But,
it's ethereal now. It's better to have those fuzzy memories, probably.
Fuzzy is a good word. No, I wasn't. I don't drink alcohol. But
oh, really?
You please continue to. As is your
because want. I will, but not because you told me to.
Okay, yeah, sure. Let's talk a little bit about the clip that everyone can hear from the album. Sure. Is the Crows clip, and I thought that was really interesting for me because I live out in the country and we have crow family birds in the backyard. We have a bird called a currawong, which is not an apex predator, a scavenger. And then we have magpies, which are another scavenger type bird. And we have crows around the village, but they never come in the yard. What is your dad doing wrong?
So great question, because I'm sure it's something like
Something is there.
He pretends to be a victim of these crows that they're like, I talk about how they like eat all the fruit off his fruit trees and they scare away other pretty songbirds, which is true. They do hunt other birds and everything.
Yeah.
But like, I think he took their nuisance as like an excuse to start some shit with an avian nemesis. So he like did start shooting at them, and I think that's actually elevated and escalated the war to a point where like they're now mortal enemies, and like he puts out little traps for them and like pretends he's going to feed them some stuff and then shoots at them. It's really mean. But like they are also kind of asshole birds. So it's
sure.
I actually like do you live stream video this?
Not live streaming, no.
Oh, okay, but you do take you do show the video,
post it.
Like I do have the email he sent me, because like the joke references that like after a while of trying to hit the crows, he finally did and sent me an email about it with the subject line "First Blood," and I just looked it up on my computer. It's not just for blood; it says it's snake oil and First Blood, because he was actually asking about my first album, Snake Oil, and for me to bring copies to him. But here, I'll screen share a couple of the pics he sent, because he sent pictures, not of the dead crow, because he only winged it. It got away. But he did, he has the blood that he's referring to is like, so trigger warning, there's a picture of blood from his handiwork here. Oh wait, you disabled screen sharing. Oh, never mind. I guess I can't do it.
Oh no, hang on. I didn't mean to. Where would I stop that from happening? Stop video.
Screen.
Video settings. Is that going to be it?
Probably.
Share screen. It's all right. This is great. Share individual. Show or share. Automatically share desktop. Oh dear. Oh no, Jono, what have I done here?
It's fine. It's fine. All it is just a little tiny splatter of blood.
Send me the pics. I'll insert them in.
There we go.
The video.
Yeah.
So easy. And then I'll also make a note to Google how to not block people from sharing videos.
Yeah. I'll forward you the email.
Advanced sharing options. Here we are. Multiple participants can share. There we are. I think I've done it. Hang on. Try that.
Okay. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Lovely.
So, yeah, there's the, does it come up? It's next to the hat for scale. My dad's a good photographer. He uses his iPad as his camera. But yeah, he put the blood splatter next to a hat to make sure I knew how big the puddle of blood was. But yeah, he winged it. It escaped into a cactus, I think, and he got one. And then he's been on a tear ever since. It's definitely, this war has many casualties.
Yeah, so no crows in my backyard, not ever in any of the places I've ever lived. So two to blame. Takes two to tango, we would say.
I mean, for sure. I mean, I've heard that like you can befriend the crows by feeding them unshelled peanuts. And I
don't know about that. All I've seen a little clickbait thing come up that said crows might be the smartest animals out of all of the animals.
Yeah,
and I didn't breed it. But what I like to do, and just like other people, I like to just adopt these things as absolutely 100% kosher and then tell other people for fun. I don't really believe it. And I see how many people. I remember I had a girlfriend and she was lovely. But I convinced her that Tasmania, which has been a state of Australia and always has been, is a different country. And I said, because Tasmania, it's not part of Australia. And she said, oh, yeah, I knew that. But I always felt terrible.
So, I had no idea. It's like one of those things where like, is Sri Lanka part of India or is it a separate thing?
It's a separate thing. yeah.
But Tasmania is a state of Australia.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But anyway, but it sounds very just like a country.
Oh, totally.
Tasmania, yeah.
I would.
As in Western Australia or South Australia, two of our other. They stayed up all night thinking up some of these names, Jono. And clearly states.
Ah.
Anyway, look, gosh, talk about going off in a tangent. I suppose that's what comedy's all about, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
People must be looking forward to this from you. Have you been able to get out and about much? Coming from your background, I bet you've been very careful.
Sort of. I mean, I definitely have been more cautious with COVID, and doing less touring since really I took a big break after the recording because that was my wedding and then honeymoon, and then Omicron hit in the holidays and everything like that. So I've just been performing for about a month now, coming out of the Omicron wave, and I haven't really traveled anywhere, just doing shows around Los Angeles, and so I've been like promoting it there. But it's been pretty tough to tour, so to speak. I should mention my honeymoon was supposed to be when we were originally planning, it was going to be to Australia and New Zealand.
Oh wow!
We were going to come do a little vacation tour, a little holiday over there, but that was we were thinking like we were planning our honeymoon in summer of 2020. We're like, by fall it'll be fine, right? And then like we looked into it, it was like, no, at least for another year that you guys aren't allowing the Yanks to come across.
It's so weird. Like just people that you would never thought have just got it. Because I work in the health industry, and just so many of them are taking the week out. And have you heard from a neuroscience standpoint about sequelae and problems with ongoing problems with COVID? Have you heard anything at all?
I've definitely heard of long COVID having neurological issues, some of it even just sensory stuff, like obviously people lose their taste and stuff like that, and taste and smell. But I haven't looked into the research specifically about any like cognitive deficits, which are like the most scary. Of course, you don't want to have a brain fog indefinitely because you had a flu once, but it's terrifying.
Let's just wait and see.
I know, like it. I obviously as a scientist, I get frustrated with people who spread conspiracy theories about the vaccine and so forth. But it's like everyone's like, oh, we don't know the long-term effects of the vaccine. It's like, well, we do know the long-term effects of COVID, and they seem to be horrific. So probably want to avoid them at all costs.
Yeah, so our government in our state let everyone out just before Christmas for Christmas, and Omicron did not waste any time, and
oh boy,
it's been terrible, but probably not any terrible than any other Western country, I suppose. But what are you going to do? We'll get through this, and then we can approach climate change. Have you got any strong views on that? Let's have to stop it.
I mean, I actually do have so many ideas. Unfortunately, I have no power. Once Midnight Oil goes platinum, then I'll pour some of my hot royalty income into some growing bamboo and mitigating climate change, carbon capture, something. I don't know. We need, so like it seems like we are, I don't know how close you pay attention to our politics, but it seems we are like one or two holdouts in the Senate away from actually affecting any change. And it would be so great if one person would step up and make our apocalypse a little more pleasant. But so far, no dice.
I think the Chinese have got most of the tech we need, if YouTube is anything to go by.
I mean, humanity has all of the tools to not quite solve the problem. We won't maybe necessarily get back to what ideal temperatures and climates would be like, but we could absolutely tackle this problem together and make it just as good, livable as possible. And the only thing holding us back is cooperation and overcoming political corrupt practices. And I don't think, I think we're we'll make it to Mars before we get a non-corrupt world leadership, unfortunately.
No, I just want them to ratchet it. We need to ratchet it down 20, 30 years just to give us some thinking time, because population increases really is a big problem too. But the Dutch have got that sorted as far as producing food is concerned, because they've got their greenhouse technology all sorted out. Oh, I'll send you a video of that.
Is it the vertical farming? Are they like?
Well, they don't do as much as that as your Brooklyn hipsters
Right.
are more into that. Because I think they feel as though, yes, we're sort of running out of, we've got enough land. Like they sort of think, yeah, sure, put things that grow on vines, put on vines. But yeah, they're, but anyway, look, you can make enough food if you want to make enough food.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say something really interesting about COVID, but now I've forgotten it. Oh, well, look, maybe it'll come back to me. And you're still slaying on Twitter.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm at JONO ZALAY on all the social medias.
Sure.
Yeah, I get on there. I'm new to TikTok as well. I've posted a few videos up there. I feel exceptionally old on TikTok. I mean, it's
9 seconds, kid. Can you get yourself across in 9 seconds?
I guess, yeah.
I sometimes I just like to see people dancing around. What's the matter with that?
Yeah, I know. It's fine. Like it's fun. Like I will say, it's a little bit more positive than Twitter, which is like all negativity. TikTok's, a lot more like animal videos and dancing.
Sure. So, have you exploited your dog for hits?
Not as much as I should. Let me grab him right now. Larry, hey, Larry, hey. Here's Larry.
A terrier.
Yeah, well, he's Jack Russell Terrier Beagle mix.
Oh, right. Yeah, so cute. Oh,
he's great. He's actually on the cover. You've seen the cover, obviously, but yeah, this is the.
Sure. He looks very uncomfortable. Come here, puss.
There's the thing. There's the video. There's Larry, and then I'm holding him like a prayer candle.
There's mine.
Oh, get him, Larry.
Get some of that purring in there.
Yeah. What's yours name?
Super Hands.
Super Hands.
Is the name of a character on a sitcom that we really enjoyed.
Nice.
Oh, Larry is so cute. He's got such kind eyes.
Don't be fooled. He'll get you.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm not going to go through your window. Not with Larry there. And
he's
so everything's going pretty well. You've not got COVID. You've got a ex-girlfriend, a new wife, a new Larry. But the album, if it's 10% as funny as the last one, it's going to be very funny, because I really do think Snake Oil is one of the funniest comedy albums I've ever heard. I mean, as far as laughs per minute, it's really, really good. And Midnight Oil, is there any origin of the name?
It's really just almost like a sequel to Snake Oil. I just wanted to why not stay within the oil space? There's a big global warming. Oil is always profitable, right? Always cranking out. And yeah, I guess it might be I wouldn't say it's actually darker. Snake Oil is pretty dark. Yeah, it was just a excuse to keep the oil name. There's no real there's a reference in one of my jokes to prayer candles, which is why I chose the prayer candle theme as the cover art. So that's why, it looks the way it does. And it also, I'm holding Larry, and in my first album, I'm holding my previous dog, Petey. So there's a little continuation thematically, me holding a dog with the album that has oil on it. And now you can actually burn, the merchandise I'm going to make for Midnight Oil is actually putting a sticker of the album on prayer candles, so you can burn the Midnight Oil. Isn't that cute?
Oh, that's great. I remember what my dumb thing was now. Look at that. That's fantastic.
So we're
It's
excited
very
about.
striking cover art. It's good. It's hard to hard to know what to put on a comedian's cover, and at the end of the day, it's just a comedian's face, isn't it? Because
Mhm.
most comedians need more exposure, so it's good to just put
Validation.
your face
Yeah.
on a thing. And but I remember what my dumb thing was. It was about recycling. What I basically wanted to is stop separating all the recycling and just get it. This is from probably knowing David Huntsberger for too long, and just put it in a machine, and then it sort of spits out furniture.
Hmm.
So it heats, compresses, just makes all the rubbish into a material X, and then just makes furniture on the other end just magically. Look, it's
I
not a
mean,
good idea. I mean, I'm
I
talking to a
what
scientist, so
what is a 3D printer if not that exact thing?
yeah. Well, that's right. Well, this is exactly right. So, but I just think separating all out the recycling and everything is just sometimes just a waste of time, particularly in smaller countries like Australia, because working really hard on recycling, and then there's America. I wonder, why bother? Just why bother?
Ugh. Well, yeah, we're not doing great.
Oh no, you're
Sorry,
doing
sorry,
great.
everyone.
Lovely people. Whenever anyone tries to knock America, I always say the nicest
Mm,
people you're ever going to meet. That's what
thank
I
you.
reckon. But JONO ZALAY, thanks so much for joining. I'm really looking forward to the album plopping. I've pre-ordered it, and I
Oh,
hope
yeah.
tens of thousands of other people do too.
Thanks so much. Yeah, the pre-order links. I the fun thing about the new internet is you can choose your ERL extension, so it's not just .com anymore. You can be like .golf or whatever. So the two URLs I bought to promote the album and pre-sales is Bible.recipes and jokes.farm. So go to either of those websites and they'll take you right to the Apple Music pre-order, and then it'll eventually change it to like the regular album homepage. But yeah, find my album at Bible.recipes.
That's not a sentence you're going to hear very often. Thanks so much, JONO ZALAY.
Thanks so much, Dan.